Let me paint you a picture. A company's cloud service goes down. No backup, no record of the settings. And when they finally restore it, they discover the attacker got in because someone never changed the vendor's default password. Another business finds that their network's clock is out of sync by 5 minutes, just enough for their logs to be useless in a cyber investigation. And one IT manager proudly automated their laptop builds, but forgot to disable admin accounts. So you can guess what happened next. These were three simple misconfigurations, but led to three very costly mistakes. And every single one of them could have been prevented by following this particular Annex A control, Annex A 8.9 configuration management. Because this control isn't just about setting things up right, it's about keeping them right every single day, every single time. This control exists because our digital world is complex, and complexity is the enemy of consistency. So what does the standard say? Well, it simply states that configurations, including security configurations of hardware, software, services, and networks, shall be established, documented, implemented, monitored, and reviewed. That's 5 verbs: established, documented, implemented, monitored, reviewed. And they apply across hardware, software, services, and networks. So there's a lot in there. So it's worth, again, looking for guidance around this. And that comes in the form of ISO 27002, because it takes it further. It tells us how this should happen, not just what is required. It says we must define processes and tools that enforce these configurations, not just when systems are installed, but throughout their lifetime. It's about making sure every laptop, every switch, every cloud service is configured securely and stays that way. So let's take a look at some of the insights that 27002 gives us, because it tells us to create things like standard templates. These are your blueprints for secure configuration. And these aren't theoretical documents, they're practical tools that they should be based on vendor or industry best practices. Maybe they match your own security policies as well. Perhaps ensuring that they fit the real world situation of your business. Now, it's up to you to define and decide what these templates look like, but by ensuring that they align with your business, they're going to be used by you and your business. You can think of them like a recipe card for your IT environment. So your templates should ensure that unnecessary accounts are disabled, default passwords are changed immediately, admin rights are minimized, firewalls and timeouts are active, clocks are synchronized, and that every configuration is recorded, monitored, and protected. This is how you turn chaos into control. And that's really what the auditor is going to be looking for, is that you have a process in place. The auditor is going to want to see that you've thought about this in its entirety, remembering this is about the life cycle of your systems. So having a defined configuration management process and clear roles and responsibilities is really where it all starts from. Having those configuration checklists or templates, ideally standardized, so that you know that these are the things that you turn to every single time you configure a firewall or a switch, or more regularly laptops or mobile devices and such. Make sure that you've got records or logs of configuration changes as well, including who, what, and when the changes were made. The auditor, again, is going to be looking for evidence across multiple different areas. They're not just looking for a single policy or a single document. Make sure that you've also got or thought about version control and change control evidence as well. And that links very much to Annex A 5.8 as well. So think about version controls of configurations how you configure things today may not be the same how you configure them in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now. Make sure you have some form of secure installation procedures as well. So again, these are procedures that will ensure that any installation is carried out in a uniformed manner, that it is via a structured process. That again is what the auditor is looking for, that you have this in control. And this is what you want as well. You know, remember that you might not be you in 6 months' time, you doing the configuration, you may be passing that on to someone else. And you want to know that they're going to do it in exactly the same way, with the same love and a care and attention that you do. So make sure you have that installation process, those configuration templates in place. Of course, the auditor is also going to want to see that you have some form of regular monitoring and logging and even reviews of configuration management as well. So make sure that this becomes part of your audit process. And having done all of those audits and such, you probably do need to think about evidencing that you are training people on these configuration management. Now, that training isn't for everyone. It may be just for your IT function that is involved in the configuration of devices and systems and software and such. Again, only you can determine who needs to have that level of training. Just remember that when the auditor comes along, what they're really wanting to see is a living process, not just a dusty document that you've got that's sat inside of your ISMS. They want to see that it's actually working. They'll ask things like, is your configuration management process enforced? Is it reviewed and updated over time? If you can answer that confidently, then you're on the right path. So what do you need to do? How do we make this real? Well, what you need to do is you need to establish and define that process. Work with your IT teams or suppliers. Define who owns what. Identify your configuration tools and your most critical assets, and then build a process around it. And that process should really start with creating some very simple templates. Use vendor best practices. Just remember to keep them simple. Processes do not need to be lengthy documents. They're not keystroke processes. Go and press Control Alt Delete to do this, or press Shift da da da. You don't need to do that. You don't need to go to that level. Keep them simple. A simple flow chart, a checklist, a configuration script. The format doesn't matter. The consistency does. So whatever works for you is appropriate for you. Just remember to document and record things as well. So every configuration change should leave a trail. Who made the change? When was it made? Why was it made? And just store that information securely. Just in the unlikely event that something goes wrong, that you can go and say, well, we changed this particular thing then, and then we had the problem now. So now we know where the issue is. It gives you traceability. It's not just about accountability. Monitor and compare as well. Just, use tools to check your live systems against your templates. And are there any deviations? And if there are, fix them. Or document why they're acceptable. And that really is, again, where we come to the risk register. If you do have any problems, any issues that you can't fix, then make sure that they are represented on your risk register. And finally, just remember to review and improve. Threats evolve, software updates, people move on. Make reviewing your configuration management process a part of an annual review, so that they are being kept up to date, both with your internal need, but also external as well. So the vendors, processes and best practices as well. So in closing, I'm just going to say this: configuration management isn't about paperwork. It's about peace of mind. It's how you make sure your technology is on your side. It gives you consistency, efficiency, and confidence that your security isn't built on guesswork. Because when every device, every service, every line of code follows a secure, established standard configuration process, then your business, your firm becomes resilient, responsive, and ready for whatever comes next. So I hope that's been helpful. This is a really interesting Annex A control. Configuration management is about gaining control. It's about consistency. And those are the two words I would always say with this. And I would also add confidence, making sure you're confident that every device, every system that goes out there is configured in a way that you would expect it to be. As ever, I am Gary of Consultants Like Us, where we make compliance without complexity, or we help you with compliance without complexity. I hope that's been useful. Please do give this a share, give this a like, and I'd love to hear your thoughts around this particular control. If you did find it useful, do please subscribe, hit that bell so you get reminded of the other videos in the series, and go and check them out. We're well into the Annex A controls now, where there's 93 of them, and we're into the final furlong, if you like. But I hope that's been helpful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Until then, stay well, stay safe, and stay connected. Take care. Bye-bye.